I'm in another conference room at the Leica headquarters in Wetzlar, Germany, and with me today is Micah Horbitz.
Hi,
Did I get that right?
Yes, you got that right, perfectly.
Good. And we're going to be looking at the Leica line in the APS size format. And I had a brilliant discussion, obviously, ahead of time. And boy, this is a really interesting line. Just been working with over the last few weeks, since this is sort of that new, the TL2. And it's a genius design because there's like no buttons, but what's really cool about it, and I'm going to let Micah talk more about this, is the menu system and some of the design considerations that went into this. So I know you have a lot to say because you always do, and it's like so good. But so why don't you start filling us in a little bit on where you are with the APS these days, the history a little bit first off, what came prior to this, and see what you got.
So, Kevin, we started with what you're seeing here. The TL2 is the latest addition to our APS system, and we launched it in July. It's actually the second generation of the TTL. We launched the T, a very, very new camera for the Leica Camera AG in April 2014, and what is a complete, fairly new concept in camera. We try to bring touch and gesture operation into the camera and really emphasize on what's gesture and what's a big display good in terms of benefit for a customer bring into a camera. And that's what we did. We built a unibody with a full touch operational camera, very robust. I like that's always it's craftsmanship all over from Portugal as well as Wetzlar. And what we put inside was an APS-C sensor. So with the T in 2014, we introduced a complete new system to the Leica. It is a system that is below M in terms of price, in terms of sensor size, but has many advantages because you can build very compact, not only the camera, but especially the lenses. Right. So what we're here having currently is our 6 high-performance APS autofocus lenses. We have 3 great zooms reaching from 17 to 200 millimeter equivalent focal lengths to 35. I'm always talking in equivalent.
Yes.
And we have a nice Summicron 35 equivalent, makes it very small, and 2 special lenses, one 1.4 35, which is then a 50 mil classic Leica lens, and also a macro lens, a 2.8 60. That's doing 1:1 size.
Great for doing flowers, insects, and butterflies,
and all that. But also a very, very nice portrait lens in terms of focal length.
Yeah, it's perfect focal length for that too.
And with the TL2 actually, which hit the market in July, we have now a great camera and six great lenses. So. A person that chooses to step into the Leica world in terms of systems and is not able to maybe conquer the M yet because it's a fairly...
it's a photography.
Yeah,
you got to know
exactly.
photography.
So you start with it, then this is actually a great little system, great little camera to start with it. High performance.
There's some things that are really bold about this. Before we go to the menu system, you notice on the camera that Mike is holding here, there's no lug. See, it's all flush, and there's no hatches.
No.
Just one little hatch on the side here for your connectors, and otherwise batteries built in flush. But what's cool is this is like a little pop-out socket, I guess, so you can then insert these lugs or a strap that has those things built into it.
Exactly. So what we always try to do is, of course, the overall thing like image quality and performance and everything has to be very, very good with every product we do. But there are the little details you sometimes get annoyed about. For example, if you have to put a strap on your camera and it's not good for people that have actually nice nails, and then it's always turned and twisted. So we call this easy click. I actually do just not have one of these things. But everyone knows this from opening the SIM socket for the iPhone.
It's like a little paper clip.
You just put it in, it comes out, and then you have straps that either have this pin immediately attached, or you can put the strap
Regular
plug on
ones.
it and attach any kind of strap you want.
So there's like a wrist,
There's a wrist strap.
and
there's
it's so
different
good with this
neck
camera.
straps.
Because with this lens or the 35 like you have here, it's a great camera just to keep on your wrist, walk down the street in a Rome or
Exactly.
someplace and just shoot pictures all day long. Also, there's not one label.
Yeah, it's one. It's the name.
It's like, so it's very it's totally of a different concept than you'll find with other cameras.
Yes. First of all, we have what we so-called blind lenses. We do not have an aperture ring on the lenses themselves, so we control aperture and shutter speed with a dial, two dials on top. But the dials are not just dedicated to these two functions. You can individualize and personalize it to your own special needs, and that's why it doesn't have any engravings. So if you want to have ISO on one of these wheels, you can put ISO on one of these wheels. If you want to have white balance on that, because you just love to change that, you're welcome to do so. And that's why we do not have any engravings on the wheels, because they're soft wheels, customizable.
One of the other things which I really love with this, and the second I pulled it up, I expected the typical traditional Leica linear menu, but this has tiles, and this is just so responsive when you touch the screen and when you decide you want to make a change, how you make it. It's all just brilliant. So tell me a little bit about how, where this whole concept of no buttons on the back, two dials on the top, and a shutter release, and everything else is controlled by this brilliant touch screen.
So first, always important is that the most important valuables for photography are still on physical things. So release button, aperture, shutter speed is still with physical dials, direct access. Other than that, we made, or we took all the advantage of a huge screen, which is actually very nice. It's a brilliant screen, high resolution, also in bright light. You still can really see what's going on the screen. And we decided to really transfer operation onto a camera in terms of gesture. And lists and just putting buttons there, not hard buttons, but kind of transfer them to touch didn't make sense. So we thought of having a complete new menu. So we invented this tile menu thing, where you can toggle through functions. If there are only 3 functions, you just toggle through. You don't have to get into a sub-menu. But we also made use of that. For example, you have your own menu. We call this My Camera menu. And of course, we have a default menu. So when you buy this camera, there are default things. But if you don't want this stuff, you just put it away. If you want language in, you put it in here. You can sort it and create this camera to your own needs, which is very important.
Once I sat down and did this and made my own on the my TL2, it's just like, oh, really?
I know.
And it's so fast.
And also everyone asks all the time, where's the play button? Where's the play button? We don't need a play button, we just...
you just scroll down.
We just scroll
Right there,
down,
like
exactly.
there.
When I do it upside down, then it's
It never works the way you want. But it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's just
and
that,
also...
well, I can try to show it here, boom.
Exactly like
So,
this. And then you can swipe through like you know it from your phone.
Double tap and all.
Double tap and
pinch.
pinch.
So,
Exactly.
and there's a little navigator screen so you know where you are in the picture itself.
Exactly.
So it's really well thought out.
Yes.
Also, this is just a viewfinder on the back, so you don't have an electronic viewfinder, so that's what we have.
We do not have it built in.
Nope.
Because this is a kind of concept of having it, the design concept. You talked to Mark about what was all behind. Nevertheless, for the people who really, really crave for a viewfinder, we have an optional viewfinder, high point optional viewfinder, which gives some more advantages as well. It's not only for just looking through it like this, but you can swivel it so you can have different perspectives. And because of the housing of the camera, it's a unibody, it's full out of aluminum, it's hard to get GPS signal through, so an additional benefit for this VisiFlex, we call, is built-in GPS module. So that's a thingy for that.
You've got video in here,
Yes,
so we
it's
can
4K
do 4K video.
Yeah. So with the TL2, we have now the 24 megapixel APS-C sensor with 4K video So the full bells and whistles of newest sensor
great stuff.
technology that you can put into this kind of APS-C
Now,
cameras.
one of the things that's getting to be really big is connectivity and so forth. So you've got a method. One of the things that I like to do, specifically when I'm, say walking the streets, I'd like to sit down at the cafe and maybe, post something to, Facebook or social media, or actually send something home and let the family see what I'm doing. Where do you play in that field?
I'm fully there with you, I think, and like a camera AG thinks that that our products have to be connected to what's actually important to the customer. So to stay relevant, you need to not only have great products where it makes fun to take pictures with, but the results needs to be available instantly and seamlessly, but preferably. So because what you just said, you make a great shot and you sit in a cafe and you just want to share it with your loved ones, your friends, your colleagues, whoever. So every camera has a built-in Wi-Fi module. We have apps. We're working constantly on making the connection not only better but also easier. That the smartphone, whatever there is, recognizes are kind of the best friends. The ultimate goal is that your smartphone and any kind of Leica camera are best friends. Introduced once, they love each other and they recognize each other the second they're in close to.
The TL2 has its own app both for Android and iPhone, which this is done with.
Yes.
And it is pretty cool because you can see the image, you can change the settings and do a whole slew of different things. So it's really taking a new step forward that way.
So you can drag all the content from the camera, but you can also remote control the camera if you do selfies or long exposure shots or
Well, I am
anything.
into selfies, by
yeah.
the way. So what else? Where are you going in the future with this?
Before I get to the future, one more thing that hardly anyone knows, but I really want to emphasize. What I call this also is a bit of a no worries camera. It has a built-in memory. So if you buy this camera, you don't have to worry about SD cards and this and that. So that's 32 gigabyte built in. So that's why there's no card in there. I still can take pictures. One more thing we have with this camera, because it's kind of the thing of being mobile, have it with you, is we can charge it via USB. And also we can charge it via portable battery packs. So this is the concept of this little camera. There are little steps further that are not well known in the traditional camera industry that we try to introduce into cameras.
By the way, you should see this battery. This is really pretty cool. I watched probably a bad demo of it, but it pops out with the switch, and it's actually designed to, be flush mounted with the camera so it's part of the integral design of the camera itself. So when you put it back in, it forms a nice flush mount, and it has like a secondary release. So like if you were doing this and you decide you wanted to do it on a tripod or something, it just doesn't drop out on the ground. It has like a safety catch and everything. So well thought out there.
So with the TL, and now it's called TL2, I think we did a bold move, as you said in the introduction. It's going beyond traditional cameras, but we think and we see that there's still a sweet spot for what we call iconic cameras in this kind of class. Cool. So there's one more thing I have hidden behind my back, and that's a little camera that we're going to introduce in November. That's called the Leica CL. Wow. It will carry the same lenses, it's part of the APS system. All these 6 lenses will fit with this camera. We will introduce simultaneously with this Leica CL a new lens, a super pancake. It's equivalent 27 mil, and in silver and in black. And this is a new setup and the new and latest family member we will introduce in November, so that within less than 6 months we introduce 2 new high-performance cameras. Technically inside very much the same, but in terms of how I take pictures and what it looks and how it looks like, they are very different.
Well, it is very different in the first place. This looks like Leica's got this great museum downstairs. They have like all the cameras. This looks like a camera that was actually in there, the same design and feel with the hump of the viewfinder here and so forth. So also, this is important, I believe, is that you've got a viewfinder on this camera. So you don't need to put this on there. You've got the viewfinder. You've got the diopter corrector here, which is pretty slick in itself because it
very
actually
mechanical.
it pulls out. You can adjust it, push it back in, so you're not changing it by accident. 3 buttons again. So now you put the buttons back in.
Yeah, because
Very-
it's a different kind of concept. You know, people fall in love with this and they just want exactly do this and very, very reduced. And then there are a little bit more traditional customers that have maybe also a different history in terms of photography, are more clinging to the viewfinder. They want to have this traditional way of taking pictures. And so this is, in terms of that and physical buttons, more tactile. So
This has a lot of things that photographers crave. I mean, you get a little more tactile, as you say, but you've got a little status LCD window up here, which tells you your f-stop and mode and the shutter speed. So you can look down on it, which, as I said with the M, is kind of those important things that photographers want to know where they stand. So this is kind of a notch up. This is kind of like, I really don't even know what an f-stop is, versus the f-stop is important for what I do.
you still can learn with this one, but this is a bit more, for people who are already in the act of photography, like we used to call it. We're really like picking up a camera, not just because of taking a picture of the object, but where the act of taking this picture is important and how that
Now,
turns out.
I think this is different too. Where this buttons are solid, you have a button inside a dial here.
Yes, we put a button in here, so we can change the function of this dial by just pressing the button once.
Look at that, and then it pops up on the screen in the back.
Yeah. And of
That's
course,
pretty
you would
slick.
see it in the viewfinder.
So
as
this
well.
would be an ISO setting or something,
Yeah.
and
Right now it's ISO, but
ISO.
also you can it's customizable. There are certain functions you can.
there's a lot of
put on
data
this
that
button.
you can select the different displays. So you have a histogram up top and all the shooting data. Very, 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 very nice. Does this have the pull-out pins, or this is a regular?
It does not, because then because of size.
Size, okay.
Size, basically,
This
and
is-
also on this side, then you would always have this little bumper in the EVF. You wouldn't have that one.
Kind of a legacy thing, but look at this. This is a pocket camera almost. Now with the 18mm pancake lens, you could easily slip it into a jacket pocket and walk with it.
And this is, of course, it fits on the PL as well. As I said, they share the same lenses because it's one system. Just two very different siblings, same genes, but.
Now, speaking of sharing lenses, one of the things that we've been hearing all about is all the lenses can sort of fit. So if you took the SL system, you could put the SL lenses on here with an adapter, correct?
The SL, the CL, and the TL share the same mount, the L mount. That's why they
okay.
all have the L in the end at the end of their product names. So and you can cross over. You can put all the TL lenses on the SL, and of course it's a crop factor.
Sure.
But
So 1.5.
yes, exactly. And the other way around, you can use all the SL lenses on the CL camera.
But so if I was an SL user and I decided I wanted a pocket camera for something a little less cumbersome, but I find a bird way far away and I can take that 280 and what's that 280 turns into another 140 or something, get my math right, so then I have to add that, carry the 2, but you get quite a long lens at that point. So essentially you've got still a 24 megapixel file though.
Yes, exactly,
So
because they're both 24 megapixels.
Now it's a thought process of saying, I'm into the Leica family, so no matter what I've got, I can go any direction I want with it. So brilliant idea.
And also on top, for the L mount, we have the M adapter L and the R adapter L. So you can
put M lenses on?
You can put M lenses on. You can put R lenses on if you have them still.
I can take this retro camera, turn it into a manual focus Leica with all the automation
You could do
that comes with everything else.
Definitely. Yes.
Very slick. Well, Micah, man, I'm telling you, you've been busy.
I was, yes. I am actually.
That's great. Very cool cameras. I'm really enjoying the TL2. I've shot with this camera and just had a lot of fun with it. I mean, for me, this is it because I do want the viewfinder. While I like to have it, and one of the things I should point out that I really noticed is rather than have the viewfinder in the middle like so many traditional cameras are, it's right there. So actually my nose doesn't get in the way when I put the viewfinder up. And it's like, wow, what a pleasure. I'm not greasing up my screen or anything like that. So it's going to be one of my cameras. I know that. I can't
That's
wait.
good.
It'll make you happy, right?
Yes.
So,
No, we are very happy with what we're having here. It's great. 7 great lenses, 2 great cameras. not much more to wish for.
No, well, yes, there is. Always it's going to be something to wish for, and I know I'll sit back down with you
along the
in
line,
the future.
you know, but this is so new.
So anyway, Micah, thanks very much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
you sharing all this with us. It's been a great time and really excited to see all this. And thanks all of you for watching, and I'll see you on the Luminous Landscape.